Okay, you can go.
Yeah, Coach, what kind of a challenge do you expect from Jamaica?
Look, they can play too, but also the physicality that they bring, because I think that is one area that we struggle a lot with, and to play teams, because we're going to play teams at WAFCON that have the physicality, so we have to prepare at a higher level to make sure that when that happens, we are ready. And I think with Khadisha Shaw probably being in the squad, that's the physicality that you're looking for. And it will challenge our team, and we have to find solutions for that, obviously. We will analyze them like we always analyze, and they will analyze us, obviously. So it's really important that we use this last international friendly to make sure that we are better than what we were in the second half against Denmark, in the first 20 minutes against England, because that is sometimes where games are won and lost.
Coach, tomorrow night there's a draw of WAFCON. What are your expectations?
Doesn't continue to ask when you only respond to the question just based on.
Oh, okay. Okay. I think you can wish for things, and sometimes you wish for things and you're not happy what you wish for. I think you cannot underestimate any team. I think you underestimate a team at your own peril. I think the CAF Champions League has shown us the teams are not standing still. So, when the draw comes out and the opponents are put in the groups, we'll then plan going forward. So there'll be no holiday, but we have to make sure that we're ready for WAFCON. I don't think there's an easy draw. You can think it's an easy draw, and you think it's you have easy teams. There is no easy team anymore in football, because everybody has gone out. They play every FIFA window. They play not one game, they play 2 games, and they're making sure that they are ready, because we all know all the opportunities out there. You look at this WAFCON, there's some teams that are not coming back. Some teams are coming back, and you look at Ghana being back as well, a former powerhouse, and they will probably come guns blazing as well. So I don't want to wish for anything. We'll just wait and see how the draw comes out, and then we plan.
And Coach, with the new faces that you have named in the squad, what are you expecting from them? And do you feel that they will be able to gel in with the rest of the team that's there?
Look, it's not a lot of time, as I said, but we have to give opportunities. We've seen a lot of players over this year, especially Senegal, England, Denmark. We've seen players at COSAFA. We've seen some players, with the England-Denmark game, and players that didn't get a lot of game time during COSAFA. We want to have another look, because we want to make sure that we have all our bases covered. I've had conversations with some of the players already in terms of their training, etc. So we're giving them that opportunity and able to see what they can offer, because it doesn't matter if you come in and you're new. We can always see if there's something that you can offer. And then going forward, we have a bigger group because of the COSAFA, because of Senegal, because of England and Denmark. And then we need to decide which players we take with us on our journey.
Coach, these are preparations for WAFCON, and looking at your squads from Senegal, England, Denmark, and then this one against Jamaica, they've changed, and perhaps rightly so. When will there be a time where you say, this is it, I've got my team? Because also over the past few games, there have been players like Jermaine, Tembi not available, and now Bambanani injured. When will you reach that point?
Look, this is probably the last international friendly that you can really have a look at players and give players an opportunity. We all know that next year there's a WAFCON qualifier for 2026, and then you have 2 windows, and during those windows you want to make sure that you get your core group together, and this is the reason for giving players an opportunity in these friendlies, because you want to make sure that you have all your bases covered. You look now, Bambanani is injured. What happens if she's injured come WAFCON? What happens if Jermaine is not available come WAFCON? What happens if Tim is injured? So we want to make sure that we have our bases covered. What happens if Kolosa's not there? What happens if Linda's not there? So we want to make sure that we have all our bases covered, and COSAFA, Senegal and England and Denmark has helped us. So we've got this group of players, and now we've got to go back and look what it is that they can offer, how can they add value to the team, and if that is what we're looking for.
And Coach, just how vital is it to end there on a high note, especially going to WAFCON next year?
Look, very important. You always look to go win a game. You always look to get the result. But you also have to look at improved performances. And as I say, good performances being good results. If you look at the two games, the contrast between Denmark, a very good first half, not so good second half. You look at England, a good performance, almost brought us that positive result. And if we were better in our finishing, we probably could have and would have won that game. So it's another opportunity for a good performance. It's another opportunity to get right what we didn't get right and make sure that we are better in certain areas, especially defensively and in attack, and not to give the ball away so much like we do at times. But that comes with not playing at that high level all the time. But yes, getting a win will be very vital.
You played Senegal, Denmark, and England, now Jamaica. How much of a difference in terms of challenge are you expecting?
A big difference. They have quality players playing in the French league, in the NWSL, in the English league, in Mexico. So they have really top players. I mean, the captain, Gadisha Shaw, was a leading scorer in England and still scoring goals for fun. They have players playing in Mexico as well. So they're going to present us with not only a physical challenge, but they can also play. And put us under pressure in certain areas. And that is what we're asking for, to be put under pressure, to challenge us, because where we're going with WAFCON, it's not going to be easy. You know, winning it, I won't say it's easy, but we were chasing. Now everybody's chasing us. So we got to make sure that, you know, when this happens, that we're ready for it. When that happens, that we're ready for it. And I think playing Jamaica, playing England, etc., playing Denmark has really challenged us beyond our limits. And if we can get that right going forward, we've had a great chance of, you know, defending our title.
Coach, I just want to ask about three players. First of all, Jessica, a goalkeeper, only player from Sasol League. What did you see in her? Or did the COSAFA tournament give her the nod? You've got also Shakira O'Malley. Who is she? Where does she come from? And also there's questions being asked, especially I just saw now on social media. Isabel Ludwig, she's not in the team, and many believe that she played well at the COSAFA.
Look, with Jessica, we know we have a shortage of goalkeepers. You know, at the moment, Katlego is not playing club level. At the moment, we have Andeli, Kaylan, Deneo. And we wanted to have a look, like I said, this is maybe the opportunity to have a look at what Jessica can offer and how we can help going forward, because we don't want to be in a situation where our goalkeepers get injured and then we're running around. You know, so having the conversation with players to give others game time, you know, and having a really good COSAFA Cup, you know, because a goalkeeper is a key position. You have a look at Isabella. I suggest, you know, I look at the stats, and I think there's a lot of room for improvement there. You look at the players that we have in the positions, and we're well covered in those positions, but it's not to say that you won't get a call-up. It's just that I'm having a look at other players that also was at the COSAFA that didn't get the game time to be able for me to say yes or no. So we will look at monitoring, of course, like we always do, because the door is never closed to anyone.
And Shakira?
Oh, Shakira O'Malley, I don't know if people remember, was at the HBC before she got the opportunity to go to the US and study. Played for our youth teams, you know, and I've been consistently following, but sometimes not available due to the nature of how the league works. They've just been knocked out as well of the competition that they were at, and it's given us an opportunity to have a look at her. Because hopefully she can offer us something, you know, especially in defense, because we're always looking at strengthening the departments. And if we look at now that Bambanani is also not available, I think it really helps to have a look at other players who can maybe add value in the defense.
Lastly from me, Coach, last night we didn't get a chance to speak to you, but congratulations on the induction. How did that make you feel? What are your thoughts?
Was very emotional. I think, you know, when I look at the distinguished, you know, inductees that were there, who has played a huge role, just for me to be part of that, it was very, very special. You know, when that video was played about that boy, I'm not normally somebody that writes a speech, but I needed to, because I knew I would probably start crying, talking about it. But it was interesting to hear their stories, you know, and everybody in the room probably could relate to that, with Neil Tovey and his Muti, with Chomo Sono and all of that. But, you know, I just wanted to just once again say thank you to the Banyana players and staff, because it's through that effort, their efforts, that I can be standing there. And this one is not for me alone, it's for all the women out there, through all the adversity. still, continue to perform, to all the women footballers out there and the coaches out there that work behind the scenes tirely. I'm standing in the gap for them, so thank you for that. I'm really excited and still overwhelmed, but it is what it is. And like I said, really excited to be, inducted. We don't do things for awards or rewards, but sometimes it happens, and I'm not someone to talk about myself, but sometimes, like everybody always tells me, you've got to take that credit, but thank you to the people that work behind the scenes.
Where does it rank among, if you look at the other sub-trade,
I think,
Ikamanga and all of
each and every one probably has a special meaning. I don't think you can say this one is better than the other one because they mean something different. So I think it ranks up there with everything that I've ever received, because every time there's something, it's just special. It just says that we're on the right track, that we are doing the right things, and hopefully it will all come to pass when we defend our title.
Coach, how far has women's football come in our country?
If you go back in the days when I was playing, oh my word, this chalk and cheese. We never knew when we were coming to camp. Sometimes the opponent would be in the country before us. I played for 10 years. Probably if I played now for 10 years, I'd have over 100 caps. Didn't play as often as we did. I don't think in my wildest imagination. Back then, I would have thought that we would play the #1 team in the world 3 times. We would play Sweden so many times, Netherlands, we've played Japan, we've played England, we've played all these top countries. Never in my wildest imagination. And then, going to 2 successive Olympic Games, 2 successive World Cups, and being able to hold our own and not having a professional league, it says a lot about what is happening out there, the work that the coaches is putting in, the work that the players are putting in, and the commitment that the players show. Because sometimes when people are having holidays over the festive season, these players are training because there's a game, in the past happening in January. But I think that's only a tip of the iceberg. I think there's so much more to offer. I think, and I keep saying, a professional league is imperative. If we, are bidding for WAFCONs and we're bidding for World Cup, we've got to have a competitive team. And we can only make sure of that. If you look at this current Champions League, you look at how far ASFA has gone playing in a professional league, you look at the investment that TP Mazembe has made, and you see the difference. And if we don't do that investment, as much talent as we have, we're going to get left behind, and we've got to make sure that we up our game as well, because everybody on the continent is upping their game, and it just goes to show how the game has evolved, on the African continent. They talk about winning a World Cup, but I think probably, and I'm not in any way sexist, a women's national team from Africa, would probably win the World Cup first before men's team from Africa, because if you looked at the last World Cup, you couldn't predict a result, you couldn't predict an outcome. And I think anybody could have gone on eventually, Japan beating Spain 4-0 in the group stages, and then Spain going on to win the World Cup. You could not even have imagined that. The US getting knocked out so early, you could not have imagined that. So I think it has grown. I think it could grow quicker because being a professional athlete and waking up in the morning and going to concentrate on football will really help our game evolve to a different level. A big thank you to Cecil, of course. Hollywood Bets coming in later, but we need to go that one step up. If we want to beat these teams, we have shown we are very close. If we want to beat these teams, and even though we ranked number 50, by right we should not be competing. But if we rank number 50, if we could get a professional league going, I think it's like they say, it's limitless. Then we definitely will live the impossible, as the Cecil slogan says. So. It has improved, but I also think that our youth teams need to play more regularly, because where's the next generation of players coming from? They need to go to global events, because that is where you gain experience. I mean, the Nigerians are regularly going to the U17s and U20s, and their players are getting contracts aboard, being promoted to the senior team, and that's not experience you can buy. So we need to make sure that we also regularly go to these global events to get the experience. Because when you look at 2019, we could take Sibulele and Karabu straight from the U17 World Cup, and they didn't in any way look out of place, and look where they are now. They've developed so much. So our youth teams playing regularly, they're being a professional league, and the best playing against the best every week. That would just elevate our football to the next level.
Could you comment on Bafana Bafana qualifying for WAFCON and the manner they qualified?
I was pleasantly impressed. I've been asked this question over the years, and I said, just give it time. Because I was fortunate that I was assistant coach, an acting coach. I could, work towards it, and if people were just patient in the beginning. But I think as South Africans, we want results. We don't care. We want the team to win, and you can all see with the winning team how the fans are coming out in their numbers. I think Cape Town was wonderful. How the fans are coming out in their numbers. But not just that, the team is playing fantastic football. I think that team can win WAFCON.
Coach, you are somebody who obviously follows our football. There's been a big debate in the country around showboating. What's your take on showboating as a coach and a former footballer?
Look, for me, I allow players to express themselves, but in a way where it matters, in a way where if you're doing shibobo, that you're beating someone, in a way, because I've seen in the past that referees hand out cards because to them it's disrespecting the game, it's disrespecting the opponents. We allow players to showcase their skills. As you can see, Lebo Ramalepi will do something funny in trying to control the ball. But we don't encourage just standing on the ball. And I think I'm probably going to get slaughtered for this, but we have the skill, we have the talent, and, you look at the international players, they do the same things they do, but there's a, what do you call it? It's a reason why they're doing it. They will do it to beat a player. They will do it to get in on goal. They will do the step overs, the tricks behind and all of that to the next moment. But we don't do it to the next moment. And I think if we had been more serious in the game on Tuesday night, we could have won by 4-5-0. And we might regret not doing that because that can creep into your game, but you cannot stop players if they want to showcase their skill. But there's a certain way in showcasing your skill. There's a certain way in doing it. So I won't call it showboating. I will call it showcasing your skill because that's what it's about. And I don't restrict any player, but there's got to be a reason why you're doing it. It's not just doing it. If I'm trying to beat you and I bring the ball from behind and I put it through your legs, that's what I'm talking about. But if I'm just standing there, not doing anything, there's no progress. So we allow players to showcase their skill, but to a certain limit.
Coach, we saw Sundowns and UWC at the CAF Champions League being knocked out early. How much of a setback is this for South Africa, looking at next year that we'll now only have one team, Sundowns, going through the COSAFA, and if they don't make it, it means we won't have a team at the Champions League, and there's also the FIFA Club World Cup coming up.
I think it was disappointing. I was at a function on Saturday evening at the SAFA Cape Town Awards and was doing a speech, and when I came back at that moment, Mamelodi Sundowns conceded, and I almost burst out crying. Somebody asked me, why do you look so sad? Because it was really disappointing. They'd played so well, and even though they were under the cosh, they defended so well, but that's moments that happen in games. UWC obviously was new in it, have a bit of a smaller squad. And against ASFA, they could have got a result. They had chances, but they didn't get the result. But as I said, other teams are investing. Other teams are growing. There's a professional league happening in Morocco. Tipe Mazembe owner is probably one of the richest on the African continent, having 9 foreigners. And if we don't do similarly, we're going to get left behind. You look at the league. Sundowns won the league with a couple of games to spare, but there were moments in the league, that they didn't do well. So, now you need to go back and you need to prepare again and need to get better again because everybody's investing, everybody's improving. So you can't just go to a tournament and make no mistake. I don't say they went to the tournament thinking that they just need to be there. I think they didn't expect what happened, because sometimes you go and you underestimate an opponent and things don't happen. And they had the chances. I mean, in that first game, they could have been 5-0 up at halftime. And I think that is probably what cost Mamelodi Sundowns, not the game where they lost, because if they had gotten the 6 points, the results would have been different. The same for Mamelodi Sundowns. You go to a tournament, your first game is vital. Otherwise, you're always on the back foot. So it doesn't argue well for South African football, but it gives us an opportunity now to go back and be better next time. It gives an opportunity to make sure, because now we know what we're in for. I was talking to Coach T, she said it was a different level than what she's used to at club level for the players too. And it shows how the game is evolving on the African continent. It's not, there's no small teams anymore. So you have to be ready for every moment and every situation. But good luck to the finalists. I'm sure Mamelodi, Sundowns and UWC will be back better, will be back stronger. And we look to next year to see who goes and represents us, because I'm sure now, knowing what's out there and knowing how the Champions League has changed, knowing how the level has changed, because the level was completely different from Hollywood Best, completely different from COSAFA Champions League, and it shows everybody's not standing still. So if we're not prepared to do that investment, if we're not prepared to put in the hard work, we're seriously going to get left behind.
Last question, who's your money on in the final, Champions League?
Very difficult. I think probably the two best teams, in terms of physicality. You look at TB Mazembe, but in terms of how Morocco's football has evolved, more composed on the ball, playing a lot quicker, a different ASFA from a year ago and 2 years before that. I think it's a magical moment that's going to change the game, but both teams have shown that when they're behind, they can up the game. I'd go for us ASFA. But you never can tell.